What's up, guys? I am looking forward to this video because it has to do with two of my favorite pistols. I have a lot of favorite pistols, but these are two of them. You all have requested this review or comparison. Here we are. What are we talking about? The Staccato C2 versus the Wilson Combat EDC X9. This thing is a dream to shoot. This thing is crazy accurate. We're gonna put them side by side, see which one wins, or at least see which one wins in my eyes. You may vary, and that's perfectly fine. It's your money, you can buy which one you want, but you wanted my opinion, and this is it. So you can take a look at how this is set up. I actually did have to send this back to Wilson for some of this. I can't talk about what I did or they'll demonetize it. And then you can see how this is set up. Very similar. This is more EDC oriented than this, in my opinion. The way I have it set up, not just in the guns, but just the way I have it set up just because of the length. But both these are just a dream to shoot, and I'm looking forward to doing this video. Let's put 10 rounds through them. We'll talk about the triggers, we'll talk about the recoil, and then we'll back it back out to about 40 yards, see how we do on that plate. Every time I backed these guns out to 40 yards, I've hit that plate 9 out of 10 times. Let's see if either one of these, I've already done this one, 9 out of 10. Let's see if the Wilson can actually beat that record so far. Okay guys, before we get started, I want to give a nod to the 2011 for ease of loading the magazines. These are a little bit easier to load than the Wilsons. This has a 16 round magazine. The Wilson has an 18 round magazine. If you have the Magwell, it's an 18 round magazine. If you don't have the Magwell, it's a 15 round magazine, so more apples to apples. But as it stands, 18 and 16, but with a nod to the 2011 for a little bit easier use of loading. Let's do this. Okay, so same as before, a little bit snappy. It's a smaller gun, but not bad. Still very controllable. Wherever the dot goes, that's what you hit. Just an amazing shooting pistol. The trigger is great on this. The more I shoot it, the more that dot just comes up. I talked about that in my SIG 229 video where I compared it to the C2. That this one wasn't quite as pointable, but the more I shoot this gun, the more I get used to where that dot's just coming up. And that's where we stand now. It's just as pointable as anything else that I own, but I just had to get used to that blocky grip. The grip still, in my opinion, is a little blocky on this standard Staccato grip. On the tack grip, I don't know if it's tack 2, I think it's just a tack grip. It makes it a little more rounded, but I don't think you could get the tack grip in the C2 when I ordered mine. All right, let's put 10 rounds through the Wilson, see which one I think feels a little better on recoil. All right, guys, here's my Wilson Combat EDC X9. Ambi safeties, where the other just has a strong side safety. I do like the checkering on this, and I love how they do the barrels. Just small touches like that is what makes this gun so expensive, actually. But my opinion, it's worth it. Guess I gotta turn the dot on. I didn't even have the dot on this one. It was just sitting in the safe and I didn't have it turned on. All right, take 2. All right, now I don't know how that looked in camera, but to me, the Wilson was snappier, and that surprises me because it has an all-metal frame. I didn't think it would be snappier, in my opinion, and I was pretty surprised about that. Not that it's not able to be shot, I just noticed the dot jumping around in the glass a little more, and it may be because this glass is a little bit smaller than the Hollison glass, but I just noticed it jumping around or jumping out the top a little more than the other one, which leads me to think that the recoil on this gun is a little more felt than it is on the C2. All right, let me get the C2 over here. We're gonna take a look at the triggers. Oh, one other thing I wanna talk about is this gun fits my hand better. This mag well pushes up on my grip and kind of helps me keep my grip high, which my hand don't quite hit the mag well on the C2, barely, but not quite as much. And this is way, way more rounded. The ergonomics of this gun is just better than the C2. I will say that I think I like Holosun optics better than Trijicon optics. Blast me in the comment. That's what I like. Okay, guys, we're gonna take a look at the triggers of these. First, let's just feel. That is really, really smooth. Let's take a look at the Wilson Combat if I can get it out of my back pocket because the light is catching. You can hear the spring in this one more. The Wilson is smoother. It's just smoother. That's just the way it is. Wilson takes a little bit more time, I think, fit and finish on their guns than Staccato probably does, because this is a true custom one gunsmith gun. I think these might be two, but I think this is just a little bit more of a custom firearm, in my opinion, and it is just a little bit smoother. But let's take a look at the triggers and see what we think there. You can tell, you don't hear the trigger as much, but trust me, when I run this slide and I run the Wilson slide, it feels smoother. All right, here we go. Again, just a minute amount of take up. Drops. Reset right there. I mean, it's nothing. All right, let's try the Wilson Combat. Take up. Oh, one other thing too is the Wilson don't have a grip safety you have to defeat. The C2 does have a grip safety. So if you're in a hurry and you don't push that grip safety all the way down, it won't fire. And you don't have to worry about that on the Wilson Combat. I just wanted to throw that in there. Very, very minor take up, but it is just so smooth as glass. Then you hit that wall, then it's just, you breathe on it, it fires. Reset, right there. In my opinion, let me feel this one again. Let me feel the reset on the C2. Because to me, it almost felt like the C2 had a quicker reset. I think it does. I honestly think that my C2, check and make sure the lights ain't on, actually has a quicker reset, but it isn't by much. These two triggers are so close. I think the take up is a little less on the Staccato and the reset's a little less, but the brake is a little lighter on the Wilson, in my opinion. Ergonomics, I got to give it to the Wilson because it's a little more rounded. It fits my hand a little better. But there again, price point is going to come into it here in a minute. Both have mag wells, so ease of reloading is pretty simple. And holster options is something I want to talk about with this. Holster options have not been a big deal up until now. Finding a holster for this that is a light bearing holster is near impossible. I've had one company tell me that they're going to make a sidecar appendix style holster, and they're not going to do it till like later this year. And that is the only one I can find where I currently have a sidecar appendix holster for a light bearing for the C2. That may be a downside, especially if you're looking at EDC these two guns. I have holsters for these, but I don't carry anything that don't have lights on them. So that might be a problem. And it is. I've never carried the Wilson. I love my Wilson. I will never get rid of it, like I've said about other pistols. But it does make it a little more difficult if you want to carry it. There's just no holsters out there. Let's back it up to 40 yards, see what we can do. All right, guys, we're back out to about 40 yards. Just as always, we're gonna start out with the Staccato. I start out with the Staccato every time I'm doing it. Ain't gonna break tradition now. But about 40, 42 yards, about a 12-inch piece of steel down there. Let's see what we got. Every time I've done this, I've got 9 out of 10. I've yet to hit it 10 out of 10. Let's see if we can do it now. That's a 10 out of 10, boys. First time. I knew it'd happen eventually. I've shot all these videos today. I've had plenty enough practice at 40 yards. I should be hitting it by now. Next up, Wilson Combat. All right, guys, we got the Wilson Combat here. Again, I prefer the Holliston reticle. I'm not making excuses. I think I'll still be able to hit that still with this, but I just prefer the Holliston reticle. But 40, 42 yards, Wilson Combat EDC X9. See what we got. Ten out of 10. I just feel like the Holliston reticle is a little bit quicker. That's just my opinion. I know everybody has different opinions. People have horrible opinions about Holliston sometimes. But in my opinion, I just like that circle dot a little better. A lot of people say the donut of death on the EOTech is what they really want and it's so much quicker. But then when you talk about reticles on pistols, they say, oh, I don't need the donut of death on a pistol, but you need it on a rifle. It's harder to acquire a pistol dot than is rifle. But that's a different tangent. I don't want to get off on that, but that's just my opinion. But both these guns did amazing, 10 out of 10. There again, in my opinion, if I could only own one of these, which one would it be? The Wilson Combat. There's a reason that this gun is basically, what, $1,500 more than this gun, the way they're set up, or almost $1,500 more. This gun is just smooth. And right there, I know earlier I said I felt like the recoil was less on this, but right there I felt like the recoil was less on this. So I've kind of got mixed emotions about that. But the ergonomics of the EDC X9 fits my hand better. And I've proven that they're both just as reliable as the other. Again, I've said this plenty of times. If your budget allows you to buy this, then by all means go buy this. If it doesn't and allows you to buy this, buy this. They're both great guns. They're both going to be 100% reliable in my opinion. And think how much ammo you could buy for the price difference if you bought the Staccato, which is a world-renowned pistol that everybody loves that has them. Again, I'm glad I own both. But if I could only own one, this was a dream pistol I thought I'd never own. And sometimes dreams come true, and it's thanks to you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I love you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. We'll see you next time.